Jump on. Good evening, Rampage family. Welcome back to St. Charles, Missouri, here in the greater St. Louis area. Game 2 of the weekend. Obviously, the game earlier today, Rampage showed a lot of grit and toughness and battled their way back from a 2-goal deficit to tie up the game and send it to overtime, and then unfortunately went down in overtime. But tonight's game's lined up against the Chicago Fury. I don't really have a scouting report on the Chicago team, but like I said earlier today, I believe all the teams that we play against this weekend are going to be pretty strong. So that's what we're expecting. We're going to go into it the best we can and just see how it all turns out. I think I mentioned at the end of our first game today, the result wasn't what we wanted, but I was real proud of them, and I did like what I saw. I feel like they're really starting to get into a groove, and we knew going in that we just haven't had as many games this season as some of the other teams have. We got a little bit of a later, slower start, and so we're just now hitting the point where we're kind of getting into a rhythm, getting into a stride, and hopefully they can just keep carrying that through and just kind of keep getting better, I guess. So we'll stay hopeful, and like I always say, win, lose, draw, I'll be here letting you know what I see. Do appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Really love all the families we have back at home or spread out all over everywhere who take some time out of their day to tune in and watch their kids or grandkids or nephews or friends play hockey. It's pretty awesome. So you guys are great. You've got great kids. We do enjoy getting a chance to travel and watch and cheer on the boys, and just want to see them keep getting better and having fun and playing hard. I do want to give a special shout out to Kate and Zoya watching from home. Not that I play favorites, but they're two of my favorites. But you guys know I love all of you. In a little bit nicer rink today. Slightly warmer than the rink we were in earlier today, but still a bit chilly. Just about 45 seconds to go left in the warm-up time. And then we will get started. One quick update on team health and everything. You guys probably saw that Alex Espirito was on the receiving end of a pretty dirty hit partway through the game this morning, and he is still sitting out tonight. I did hear that. Sounds like he's doing okay, so I don't know if we'll get a chance to see him back in tomorrow, but I know he's out tonight for safety reasons. Keep an eye on him. Make sure he gets healthy soon, we hope. Goalies over there pumping themselves up. Getting ready to go tonight. Hopefully they'll carry through the same energy they had earlier today. Waiting to collect the pucks. Actually doesn't look like either team has a bucket to collect pucks in. That's because it's down here in the penalty box and refs didn't figure that out yet. All right, it looks like out on the ice to get started for period number 1, we've got Nick Wilton, Jack Whittingham, Zach Roberts, Max Gudanis, and Ian Merrill. And of course, as I mentioned, Zach Stahl in net. That'll be the case all weekend long. Liam, get better, buddy. All right, making sure the goalies are ready to go, and here we go. Tied up on the draw. Chicago sends it into the Rampage zone, and Gudanis with a takeaway. He's going to skate it out. Gets tied up on the wall in the neutral zone. Whittingham sends it back to Merrill. Merrill cross ice to the far side. Wilton deflects it. Looks like it went up into the bench and out of play. They're going to take the faceoff all the way back into the Rampage zone. That doesn't seem right at all. Same crew out as before. Rampage win the draw. Wilton's going to send it back to Merrill. Merrill off the boards towards Gudanis. Loses sight of it for a second. Puck comes out front. Whittingham sends it up. Goes to the point. Chicago turns it around. Sends a shot in. Goes off of Gudanis' boot. Puck back behind the net. Whittingham ties it up down low. Sends it up for Roberts. Unable to clear. Chicago keeps it in the zone across to the near side. Shot taken. Stahl with a save. Has to turn the rebound off to the side. Whittingham sends it up the boards. Takes a ride on the dasher. And now Wilton skates it. Sends it up towards Roberts. Goes just past him. He wrangles it back in. Takes a shot. Goaltender makes a save. He's going to hang on. So we'll get a face-off in the Chicago zone. Out on the ice. Sarver, Drexel, Whitted, Wheeler, Bisley. Rampage win the draw. Goes past Bisley out of the zone. It's going to come all the way back in the Rampage zone. Wheeler's got to hustle to get back on it. He turns with it to the outside, sends it up towards Drexel, goes just past him. Now it's into the Chicago zone. Puck slides just wide of the net. Whitted pulls it out tries to feed it out front, stuck on a skate, and now the puck goes towards the goaltender, who's going to cover it up and hang on. So we get a stoppage. We'll have a face-off in the Chicago zone. Same crew out as before. Rampage win the draw. Back to Bisley. Takes a shot from the point. Goaltender makes a save. Goes just to the outside wall. Chicago sends it up. And pinching in, Sarver keeps it on the wall. Whitted pulls it off the wall. Skates in. Tries to feed it down low. Deflects off the stick. Sarver feeds it back up to the point. Bisley takes a shot from up high. Goaltender makes a save. Chicago sends it up. And a steal by Bisley. And now Chicago come back the other way. Into the Rampage zone. Puck ends up in the far corner. Chicago sends it low to high to the point. Going to send it across to the near side. Skated up the wall. Back down the wall. Comes up. Now it's going to deflect up and out of play. Face-off will be in the Rampage zone. 14:59 left in period number 1. Out on the ice, Huff, Merrill, McManus, Rahosian, and Foster. Chicago wins the draw, takes a shot from the point, goes off a body, ends up on the far wall. Rahosian gets there, he sends it hard out of the zone, ends up on the stick of a Chicago player back in his own zone. Off the wall, into the Rampage zone with it, they feed it to the outside. Down in the corner, player makes a quick move, centering pass comes up and out of the zone, splits a D, goes all the way back into the Chicago zone where they have to come back and recollect. Behind their own net now, Chicago's going to send it over to the near side. Huff with a quick steal. He's pinching in, keeps it in the zone. McManus feeds it off the wall, comes out to a Chicago player coming in off the bench. He turns around, skates with it into the Rampage zone, makes a quick move. Stahl's going to send it into the far corner. Rahosian sends it up the wall. Chicago tries to take a shot, ends up in the near side corner. Foster picks it up off the wall, sends it up to the point. Chicago feeds it across to the far side point. Skating, holding, shot taken, body's in the way, doesn't make it through. Chicago picks it up, takes a shot, goes wide of the net, ends up on the near wall. Down into the corner, McManus is going to get there, sends it up, goes to the point. Chicago player turns around, takes a shot that deflects off a Rampage player's body. And with 13:45 left in period number one, the Chicago Fury go up 1-0 on an even strength goal. On the ice, we've got Bender, Whittingham, King, Wheeler, and Gudonis. Chicago wins the draw. They're going to send it across to the near side, up again into the Rampage zone. Stahl gets there. He's going to send it out to the corner. Chicago centering pass just doesn't quite connect, goes to the far side. Shot taken, Stahl with a save, and now he's going to cover it up and hang on. 13:30 left in the first. Looks like a full 5 change out on the ice. We've got Roberts, Wilton, Merrill, Whitted, and Bisley, I think. Tied up on the draw. Puck squeezes through towards Stahl, so he's just going to cover it up. We'll get another face-off in the Rampage zone. Rampage win the draw, out to Bisley. Sends it up just outside the zone. Chicago sends it across the near side. Chips it into the Rampage zone now, and they go after it. They send it up the near side wall. Centering pass across, comes out of the zone. They have to recollect and tag up. They send it across to the near side. Up, sticks in the way, and now goes off of a body. Goes over to Wilton on the far side. It's tied up coming into the Chicago zone. Puck still in the zone. Cross ice pass and back again. Chicago into the Rampage zone with it. Poke check by Gudonis, sends it to the side. Whitted picks it up. He's going to just slide it up and out of the zone. Back into the Chicago zone now. Cross to the near side. Chicago feeds it up the wall. Huff turns around. He takes the red line. He's just going to chip it in. McManus giving chase into the far corner. Puck comes up the wall. Drexel's in there as well. And now it's going to rim around the boards to the near side. Huff punching in, trying to keeps it down low. Puck goes around to the far side. Gudonis is at the far side point, wrangles it in and feeds it back down the boards. Drexel has to pick it up, backhands it, tries to center it. Chicago's going to clear. They send it all the way down, but it actually looked like it was tipped at the red line to me. But we get a whistle for icing. Face-off will be back in Chicago zone. 12:07 left in period number one. Out on the ice, we've got McManus, Sarver, Drexel, Wheeler, and Bisley. Looks like Chicago comes out of the pile with it, unable to clear. Puck down the wall. Drexel sends it down low. Sarver's there, tries to send it up, just bounces off of McManus' stick, and now Chicago coming back the other way. They're into the Rampage zone. Drop pass at the point, shot taken. Wheeler gets a body in the way. Drexel picks it up. He turns, sends it up towards Sarver. who couldn't get to the puck because of the linesman. So we get an icing whistle because the linesman was in the way. Face off back in the Rampage zone. Whittingham, Rahosian, Foster, Whittingham, Wheeler, and Bisley. Tied up on the draw. Rampage are going to just send it up and out of the zone. Chicago has to come back for it in their own. Foster gets there, gets a stick on it momentarily. Chicago has to come back behind their net. They send it across to the far side. Cross-ice pass back to the near side. Chicago turning with it into the Rampage zone. Centering pass. It's going to come to the wall. Back down low. Whittingham feeds it over towards Wheeler. He tries to change direction back again. Bisley picks it up. He's got a player on him. Gets tied up in the corner. Chicago drops it. It's going to go to the far side. Comes up to Whittingham, who tries to turn with it. Unable to clear. Now Chicago's going to keep it in the zone down low. Bisley sends it out of the corner, but Chicago picks it up. Skates to center, tries to feed it through. Bisley gets a stick in the way. Puck on the wall. Chicago skates off the wall with it. They send it across. Shot attempt, and Stahl was there to get a piece of it. Shot from the point. Stahl gets a piece of that one. In the corner, Wheeler throws it up but not out. Chicago sends it back down low in the corner. Bisley sends it around the boards pretty hard. Chicago's there to pinch and hold it in the zone. Centering pass, a poke check comes up. Rahosian tries to turn it around. Puck just bouncing like crazy, and Chicago's going to send it up to the point now. Back down. Cross-ice pass. Whittingham gets a stick in the way. The puck's going to come out of the zone. Chicago has to tag up. Send it across to the near side. Chicago sends it in, and they are offsides. 10 minutes exactly remaining in the first period. Face-off will come just outside the Rampage zone. On the ice, Bender, Whitted, King, Merrill, and Huff. Rampage win the draw. Merrill gets there, but Chicago gets a stick on it. Goes to the far corner, and now Merrill's going to have to come skating out to the near side wall. Sends it up, deflects off a stick, comes out of the zone. Chicago turns it back around the other way. Now Huff has it. He's skating out, takes the red line. He's going to dump it in. Chicago goaltender holds up and then sends it up the near side wall. Bender turns around, fires it down low. Chicago player picks it up. Puck comes up and out, waiting for Huff, and Huff sends it back, and Rampage were offsides, but I think they're going to actually call icing, which it was a little bit of both, but icing was probably actually the right call. 9:24 left in period number one. Out on the ice, we've got Dylan McManus, Roberts, Wilton, Wheeler, and Gudonis. Tied up on the draw. Chicago player sends it back behind the net. Wheeler over to Gudonis. Gudonis up the near side wall. Gudonis has to recollect in the corner. Tries to feed it up. Chicago player gets a stick on it, keeps it in. Roberts sends it off the boards and out of the zone, back into the Chicago zone now, where they're going to have to come back and recollect. Puck across to the far side corner. Back again to the near side. And back again to the far side. Nick Wilton tries to hold it in the zone. Chicago clears it out, brings it back in, and sends it across to the near side. Chicago's now going to feed it up and out of the zone. They're into the Rampage zone with it. Into the far side corner. A little back and forth, and then it's going to come up to Zach Roberts, who skates through neutral with it. He's into the Chicago zone, dumps it into the corner. Gudonis is down there well. Chicago sends it across the near side. Pass comes up, deflects off a stick, and comes out to center, where Bisley turns and chips it back into the zone. Comes back up to Bisley again. He's got to wait for everybody to tag up, and we didn't quite do so, so Rampage are offsides. 8:11 left in period number one. On the ice, Sarver, Drexel, Whittingham, Bisley, and Merrill. Rampage win the draw back to Bisley. He's going to fire it deep into the zone. Rims around the boards to the far side. Comes up, Drexel pinches it, takes it off the wall, gets tied up with a couple players, tries to feed it through, puck ends up behind the net. Drexel up to Bisley at the point, bounces over his stick, comes out of the zone. He has to turn towards the wall and then chips it right back in again. Rampage are offsides again. 7:52 left in period number 1. Change of cast. We've got Rahosian, Foster, Whitted, Wheeler, and Huff. Chicago wins the draw back into their own zone. Send it across to the far side, neutral zone, and then they turn. They're going to fire it in the Rampage zone. Stahl holds it up behind the net. Huff chips it across to the other side, and then it comes back towards him into the near side boards. Comes up to Foster on the boards. He sends it across, and we've got a player that gets tripped. So with 7:26 left in the first, Rampage will be on the power play. Out on the ice, we've got Drexel, Sarver, Whitted, Wheeler, and Bisley. Rampage win the draw back to the point to Bisley, down to Sarver. Sarver turns on the wall, feeds it back up to Bisley. Bisley across to Wheeler. Wheeler makes a move. He's going to dump it. Comes across the near side to Drexel. Gets tied up in the corner. It's going to come out to Sarver. Sarver sends it up to Bisley. Bisley's going to dump it down low. Drexel tries to get there. He does. Picks it up down low, skates it to the far side wall. He turns, far corner. Makes a move back behind the net. Bisley tries to feed it up front, goes to a Chicago player. Puck comes up, Bisley's going to dump it. Bounces over a stick, ends up back behind the net. Whitted sends it back to Drexel. Drexel to Sarver. Nice shot, nice save by the Chicago goaltender. Puck comes up and out of the zone. Drexel picks it up. Whitted's going to take it into the zone with it. Skates to the far outside, makes a move to the inside, tries to stuff it, and the goaltender makes the save and is going to hang on. 6:31 left in the period, 1:06 on the power play for the Rampage. New power play unit coming out. We've got Whittingham, Wilton, Roberts, Merrill, and Gudanis. Rampage win the draw, comes up to Merrill at the point. He skates across the center, tries to take a shot, goes off a body, doesn't make it through. Chicago clears. Merrill has to recollect. He turns around, sends it up towards Roberts. Puck gets held up on the wall. Roberts drops it for Whittingham across to Merrill. Merrill over to Roberts. Roberts in the zone with it. Roberts tries to feed it towards center, and then Wilton's going to get a stick on it to keep it down low. Whittingham trying to pinch in at the wall. Whittingham turns with it, takes it off the wall now, sends it across to the far side to Gudanis. He has to try to wrangle it back in, bounces on him, and now Chicago has it. They're going to skate it out of the zone. Wilton coming back, and now it comes to Merrill, who turns, sends it up to Roberts, comes to Whittingham. Whittingham takes it into the zone, and the Rampage are off sides. 16 seconds left in the power play, 5:42 in the period. Get a couple new skaters out on the ice for this last 16 seconds of power play time. We've got Foster, McManus, Rahosian, Merrill, and Gudanis. Tied up on the draw. Looks like Foster's going to pull it out of the pile. He feeds it back to Merrill. Merrill over to Gudanis. Gudanis skates, turns, looks, tries to send it across. Chicago player gets a stick on it now. Goes off a boot, and we got a Chicago player with speed into the zone. And on a bad bounce in the neutral zone with 5:22 left in period number 1. Chicago Fury make it 2-0. Out on the ice, we've got Sarver, Drexel, Huff, Bisley, and Whitted. Rampage win the draw. Back to Bisley. Sends it off the boards. It's into the zone. Sarver gets a stick on it. Sarver with a little room. Makes a shot. Goaltender makes a save. Puck comes out to Huff at neutral. And now Chicago has to hold up, wait for everybody to tag up. They're going to send it back into their own zone and back up again. Puck into the Rampage zone. Huff has to come back after it. He feeds it up the boards to Sarver. Sarver's going to pick it up off the wall, feeds it across to Drexel. Drexel skates out of the zone with it. He's through neutral into the Chicago zone. Holds up on the far wall. And now Chicago with the poke check, and we got Chicago unimpeded towards the goaltender. And on another turnover with the Rapid going the other direction, Chicago Fury make it 3-0. 4:40 left in the first. Out on the ice, we've got Bender, Whittingham, King, Wheeler, and Gudanis. Rampage win the draw. Back to Wheeler, his own zone. He sends it up, goes off of a stick. Whittingham has to try to knock it out to neutral. King's going after it. Chicago sends it back into their own zone. King applying pressure on the forecheck. Chicago skates it out of the corner, sends it over to the far wall. Back into the Rampage zone with it. Puck comes around to the near side. Bender's going to pick it up. Gets held up by the linesman, and now the puck comes out to neutral where Gudanis picks it up. He's into the zone with it. And Whittingham just unable to hold the blue line. Faceoff will come outside the Chicago zone with 4:04 left in the first. Same crew out as before. Rampage win the draw. Back to Gudanis. Sends it up to Bender. Bender turns. He's going to dump it into the zone. Chicago goalie sends it to the far wall. Bender applying pressure on the forecheck. Chicago sends it around to the near wall. They skate it off the wall, send it across ice to the far side. Take the red line, dump it into the Rampage zone. Puck comes up the near side wall. Bender tries to feed it out. Chicago with the takeaway, keeping it in the zone. They dump it down low. Wheeler makes a move back towards Whittingham. He's got a player on him. Gets tied up back behind the net. Chicago feeds it over to the near side. And Whittingham's going to send it up and out. That's going to go the distance. The goalie is going to play it. So no icing. Play continues. Puck back in the Rampage zone. Bisley in the corner sends it up the wall. Wilton is there, trying to turn with it. Able to turn. Finally clears the zone. And now Roberts is going to pick it up. He skates with it. He's through. He's into the Chicago zone. Shot taking. Goaltender makes a save. He's going to knock it down and cover it up. 2:50 left in period number 1. Apparently we have a penalty coming, but I didn't see what happened. I didn't see what happened. I didn't see the signal. So 2:50 left in the first. Rampage on the power play. We've got Sarver, Drexel, Whitted, Bisley, and Wheeler. Rampage win the draw, but it's going to split the difference, come out of the zone. Bisley picks it up in neutral. Chicago with a poke check. Makes a quick move into the Rampage zone. Stahl with a nice save. Drexel picks it up on the far wall. He's going to skate through neutral with it. Into the Chicago zone. Held up on the near side wall. Comes up. Bisley takes it out of the air. Puck stuck on the wall. And now Drexel has it. Tries to feed it up towards Sarver. Sarver back to Drexel. He skates off the wall with it. Takes a shot that goes up the far side. Wheeler recollects but has to come out of the zone to do it. Makes a move. And now Chicago, and then they've got it. They're in the neutral zone. Send it back into their own zone. Johnny Sarver applying pressure off the forecheck. Puck comes out and then goes back in again. And Rampage are offsides. They're actually calling this like it's delayed offsides, which it's not. 1:13 left on the power play, 2:02 in the period. Out on the ice, we've got Roberts, Whittingham, Wilton, Gudanis, and Merrill. Puck ends up on the far side, and Chicago takes it. They're going to dump it into the zone. Said it was tipped, no icing. Play will continue. Merrill brings it in behind his net. Gudanis on the far side. He skates, sends it over to Whittingham on the near side. He's into the zone with it. Whittingham makes a move towards the goaltender to the far side. Drops it for Gudanis, centering pass to Roberts. Roberts turns with it, sends it across. Goalie got a piece, and now it's on the near side wall. Whittingham has to fight to pick it up. Skates off the wall with it. Makes a move out to center. Puck comes up to Merrill. Merrill takes a shot, goes over the net. Hits the glass just behind. Puck up and out of the zone now. Whittingham has to come back for it. He turns, drops it, and Chicago's going to send it back into their own zone on their own net. And we will have a stoppage. 23 seconds on the power play, 1:12 in the period. Out on the ice, Foster, McManus, Rahosian, Huff, and Bisley. Rampage win the draw. Managed to hold it in the zone. Puck comes out front, and then Armani Foster manages to pick up the loose change. So, with 1:07 left in period number one, Armani Foster with a power play goal, making the score 3-1. Still in favor of the Chicago Fury. Out on the ice, same crew as before. Foster, Rahosian, McManus, Bisley, and Huff. Tied up on the draw. Chicago sends it into the zone, and now back out again. McManus pulls up with it. Chicago's going to pick it up in the neutral zone, send it back into their own. Cross ice to the far side. Back again to the near side wall. Tied up on the wall. Puck still tied up. It's going to come back into the Chicago zone. Chicago sends it across the far side. Up through neutral into the... They were offsides by like 3 strides. Play will continue. It was too close and too obvious. Puck tied up on the near side wall. McManus feeds it back to Bisley. Bisley around the boards to Huff, gives it back to Bisley. Bisley skates with it, tries to feed it up, and now puck comes up and out of the zone. Out to neutral, across to the far side. Into the Rampage zone, Rahosian picks it up. He's just going to hold it as time expires on period number one. So your score after one is 3-1 in favor of the Chicago Fury. The boys let that one get away from them just a little bit. So here's hoping that they can kind of wrangle things back in and start period two like it's a whole new game. I'm going to go on mute for the next minute while Coach is talking to the boys. I'll be right back with you. All right, here we go, getting ready to start period number two. 2-goal deficit for the boys to dig themselves out of. Out on the ice, we've got Sarver, Drexel, Whitted, Gudanis, and Wheeler. tied up on the draw. Looks like Chicago comes out of the pile with it. They send it back into their own zone. Cross to the near side and through. That doesn't connect. Should have been icing. And they do call it icing. No, I'm sorry. We have an interference penalty, apparently against Blaze Wheeler, is the indication. I did not see it. I can't speak to it. But with 16:49 left in the second, the Rampage are going to be on the penalty kill. Out on the ice to start the PK, we've got Whitted, Drexel, Gudanis, and Merrill. There's also an icing, so faceoff's going to come outside the zone. Rampage win the draw, but Chicago's going to get there. Drexel tries to knock it down out of the air. Whitted sends it up, but not out. Chicago sends it to the far side wall. Make a turn on the wall. They send it up to the point. Back down the wall again, cross ice to the near side. Shot taken. Drexel gets skates in the way. Puck comes out of the zone. Drexel's going to pick it up. Skates it into the Chicago zone. Takes a shot. Stick gets deflected just wide, and now goaltender's going to cover it up. And then he drops it for a defenseman. Whitted was there for a second. I think caught him off guard a little bit. Snuck up on him. Back behind the net, Whitted pokes it over to the near side. Chicago picks it up. They're going to drop it down low and regroup behind their own net. Rampage going for a change. Chicago sends it across to the near side. Goes off of a linesman's skate. Whittingham actually has to tag up, which he does. He takes a shot, goes wide of the net. Sarber's in there. Puck comes up the near side wall and out to a Chicago player who turns. They're going to skate it through neutral into the Rampage zone with it. Chicago makes a move, tries to stuff it in the corner, and Stahl's going to cover that up and hang on. So with 15:39 left in the second and 55 seconds left on the penalty kill, we'll have a face-off in the Rampage zone. Out on the ice, we've got Bisley, Huff, Whittingham, and Sarber. Tied up on the draw. Chicago's going to win it. They send it up to the point and then up and out where they have to tag up. And Sarber with a poke check. He's into the zone, rides it into the corner. Sarber ties it up down low. Nice, good effort played by Johnny Sarber to just kill that penalty. Just about 22 seconds left on the PK for the Rampage boys. Sarber still tied up in the far corner. Chicago reverses direction. They're going to come over to the near side. Outside the zone, send it cross ice into the Rampage zone now. Huff gets there, sends it off the wall. Chicago players waiting right there. They're going to pick it up, turn, and recollect. They feed it down low, turn with it, send it up to the point, cross to the near side. Shot taken. Whittingham gets a body in the way of that one, and then Bisley's going to fire. Comes up and out. Wheeler's there, but I don't know. He does. He picks it up just before it's icing. Makes a move. Goaltender makes a save, and now he's going to cover it up. And now we got a cross-check to the neck of Jack Whittingham. He was playing to the whistle. There was no whistle. Players took exception to that. Actually, should have been a whistle a little sooner. Refs were a little slow on that, which is always going to lead to a little bit of chaos afterwards. 14:36 left in period number 2. Face-off in the Chicago zone. Rampage are back at full strength. Out on the ice, we've got Roberts, McManus, Wilton, Merrill, and Gudanis. Chicago wins the draw into the corner, but Rampage will jump on it. Roberts has it tied up in the corner. Now Chicago's going to poke it up. Comes up out of the zone to the far side. And now into the Rampage zone. Merrill's going to turn it. Apparently it didn't come out. It looked like it came out to me. Shot taken. Stahl has it in his glove. 14:17 left in period number 2. Chicago wins the draw, sends it up to the point. Shot taken. Stahl has it in his glove. He's going to hang on.
Their team 8 shots total.
Shot doesn't make it through. Gudanis feeds it over to the near side. Tied up in the corner. McManus gets there, sends it up and out. That's going to go the distance. Should be icing, except it goes on goal. So play will continue. Chicago goaltender drops it for his player. They're back behind the net. Sends the pass across to the near side, up and out of the zone. They're going to pick it up, skate it in the Rampage zone, and flip it up back behind the net. Puck comes up the near side wall. We have a penalty coming to the Chicago Fury. Ian Merrill took a bad hit. He's up and skating under his own power, which is 13:39 left in the period. Rampage are going to go on the power play. To start the power play for the Rampage with 13:39 left in the second, we've got Drexel, Whitted, Sarver, Wheeler, Bisley. Rampage win the draw, send it up to Wheeler at the point. He's going to feed it back down to Drexel. Drexel feeds it across. Goaltender's going to jump on it. Of another face-off in the Chicago zone. 13:31 left in the period. Face-off will be at the far side. Tied up on the draw. Drexel sends it back behind the net. He holds it up on the near side wall. Drexel's going to send it across to Bisley. Bisley down to Sarver. Sarver down to Drexel in the far side corner. Drexel up to Sarver. Gets poke check. Comes out of the zone. Rampage trying to hold it. Just came out of the zone. 1:32 left on the power play. 13:10 in the period. Tied up on the draw. Rampage send it back to Blaze Wheeler. Wheeler across to Bisley on the far side. He turns. He's going to send it up to Sarver. Sarver to Drexel. Drexel's in the zone. The goaltender's going to send it into the far side corner. Sarver sends it up to the point. Bisley back to Sarver. Sarver tries to feed it down. Gets poke check. Gets tied up on the wall. Sarver's there. He's going to dump it low behind the net. Whitted's there to pick it up. Tries to send it back, and Chicago sends it up the boards. And now they're going to pick it up off the wall and skate out of the zone with it. They take the red line, dump it into the Rampage zone. Wheeler has to come back for it. He's back behind the net, turns, skates with it. It's out of the zone, feeds it over to Sarver, back to Wheeler. Wheeler takes it deep. He rides it over towards Drexel. Drexel up to Merrill on the blue line. Merrill takes a shot. And then Whitted's going to grab it up front. He makes a quick move. So, with 12:16 left in period number 2, Rampage cut the lead to 1 with a power play goal to Boone Whitted. Pass from the blue line from Ian Merrill. Did we? Out on the ice, we've got Foster, Rohosian, Whittingham, Huff, and Merrill. Rampage win the draw back into their own zone. Merrill has to hustle back for it. Merrill over to Huff. Huff on the far side sends it across to Rohosian. Rohosian skates out of the zone with it. Takes the red line. He's into the Chicago zone. Tries to feed it. Has to recollect. And now Chicago's going to poke, and then they're coming back the other way. Shot goes wide of the net. It's going to go to the far side. Huff has to wrangle it in. He's got a player on. Tries to stuff it. Zach Stahl with a nice save. Couldn't really see the player behind the net. Whittingham blows a tire. And now a little back and forth at neutral. Merrill sends it in. Chicago has it in their own zone. They hold up. Send it back around the boards to the near side. Up and out of the zone. Huff gets a stick in the way, and now Chicago's into the Rampage zone with it. Shot taken. Stahl makes a save, and then the Chicago player picks up his own rebound on the far side. So with 11:20 left in period number 2, Chicago Fury go up by a score of 4-2. Out on the ice, we've got King, Bender, McManus, Gudanis, and Bisley. Chicago wins the draw, back into their own zone with it. They send it across to the near side, up and out. It's going to deflect, goes on net. Stahl gives it to Gudanis, sends it across ice to the near side. It bounces back into the Chicago zone where they collect. Send it up and just out. Chicago's going to turn and skate with it. They're into the Rampage zone. Drop it at the point. Puck tied up on the far side wall. Chicago skates off the wall with it. Off of bodies, and I believe... we must have a penalty coming to the Rampage. Yeah, it looks like it's coming to Dylan McManus for a hook. 10:47 left in period number 2. Rampage are going to be on the penalty kill. On the ice, we've got Wheeler, Whitted, Drexel, Merrill. Start the penalty kill with 10:47. Rampage win the draw. Merrill sends it across the far side. Wheeler gets there, backhands it up and out of the zone. Drexel's going to pick it up. He's into the Chicago zone one-on-one, skates to the near side, tries to take a shot, puck deflects up into the netting and out of play. So we'll have a face-off in the Chicago zone with 10:36 left in the period. 1:49 of penalty kill time. Chicago wins the draw. They send it down low behind their net. Player sets up. Cross to the near side boards. Out, cross ice. They're going to skate through neutral into the Rampage zone. They take the far side wall. Puck comes up the boards. The player wrangles it in. They stop and turn with it at the blue line. Wheeler with a quick steal, and now it comes back. And then Drexel turns. Chicago with a quick shot. Stahl with the save, and now the puck ends up in the corner. And Whitted's going to pull it out. We have a penalty coming to Chicago. Whitted makes a move through neutral. He's into the Chicago zone. Holds up, tries to drop it for Drexel, and Chicago tags up. And we will get a penalty. So we will have 1:06 of 4-on-4 time, followed by 54 seconds of Rampage power play. So with 9:52 left in the second, we'll have a face-off in the Chicago zone. Out on the ice for the Rampage, we've got Sarver, Whittingham, Wheeler, and Gudanis for the 4 players. And we're waiting a long, long time. No, I'm sorry. We have another player coming to the bench. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, I guess they're calling 2 and 10 on that one is what it looks like. So they've got 2 players in the box now. Chicago, well, they got tied up on the draw. Johnny Sarver's in there applying pressure. Chicago sends it up. They're still in their own zone. They feed it across to the far side and turn and dump it in the Rampage zone. Sarver has to come back for it. He feeds it up to Gudanis. Gudanis holds up, turns, makes a move, sends it across to the near side to Wheeler. Wheeler picks it up. He skates out of the zone with it. A poke check by Chicago, and they're coming back the other way. Shot taken, goes up and over. Tied up on the boards. Wheeler's going to send it around where Chicago player's going to get there first. Up to Whittingham. Whittingham turns with it. Tries to feed it over towards Gudanis and then ends up having to pick it up. He skates through neutral. He's into the Chicago zone on his own. Puck behind the net. Goes around to the near side. Chicago feeds it up and out. They're into the Rampage zone. Quick move made. And here's what I'm going to tell you. The net was off. These nets are terrible. Stahl can't make a move. He can't make a goalie move to make a save because the net gives up. So on a quick transition, 4-on-4, even strength to goal. And our player should still be in the box. That was 4-on-4. So with 8:47 left in period number 2. Chicago goes up by a score of 5-2. And it looks like we've got 8:47 left in the second. Looks like we're going to go to the ice cut. So I'm going to go on mute for a little bit, but when we come back, we should have a face-off at neutral ice, at center ice, excuse me. 8:47 left in period number 2. Score is 5-2 in favor of the Chicago Fury. And hopefully the boys have a lot left in them for the second half of this game. I'm going to go on mute for the next 10 minutes or so. All right, folks, welcome back to the second half of the second period. We have exactly 1 second left of 4-on-4 time, followed by 55 seconds of power play for the Rampage boys. Face-off should be at center. Out on the ice to start this second half of the second period. 4-on-4, we've got Drexel, Whitted, Wheeler, Bisley, and just as soon as the puck drops 1 second later, Dylan McManus will be out of the box. Rampage will have a little bit of a power play going. Rampage win the draw. Comes back to Bisley, over to Wheeler. Wheeler up to Drexel. Drexel sends it back over to Bisley. Bisley on the far side, up to Whitted, goes through a skate, ends up in the Chicago zone. That's going to be icing. So we get a whistle. Face-off will be back, but in the Rampage zone, 43 seconds left of power play time. Rampage win the draw back into the corner. Bisley feeds it over towards Wheeler. He turns back behind his net. Puck gets stuck on the sticky, wet ice. Puck comes out to Whitted, goes off of the stick, and Chicago turns it around, sends it back. Back into the Rampage zone. Wheeler has to skate back, pick it up, and try to recollect. Whitted's got it. He's going to skate out of his zone with it. He's through neutral, makes a move. The ice is too sticky. Poke check by Chicago. They're back into the zone. Shot taken, Stahl with the save. It's going to end up in the far corner. Just 7 seconds left of power play time for the Rampage. Not really enough time to get set up. Wheeler's got it behind the net. Drexel skates it out from behind. Chicago back at full strength. Drexel's through neutral. He's going to dump it into the zone. Chicago picks it up behind their net. They send it across to the far side, across to the near side, into the Rampage zone with it. Chicago makes a move, takes a shot, goes up and over, and comes up the near side wall. They hold it at the blue line, keep it in the zone. Merrill turns around, feeds it off the boards, comes out to Wilton, and Pokecheck keeps it in the zone, and now Gudonis is going to kick it out to neutral. Chicago tries to turn around, send it the other way, doesn't touch it. That's going to be icing. We get a whistle. Face-off will be in the Chicago zone with 7:11 left in period number 2. What? And apparently there's a penalty coming to Gudonis, but I don't have any idea what for. I don't know what just happened, but Rampage are on the penalty kill with 7:11 left in the second. We've got Roberts, Whittingham, Huff, and Merrill for the PK. Rampage win the draw back into their zone. Merrill gets tied up behind the boards. He sends it up the near side wall. Chicago pinching in. They're going to hold it. They send it down low. Tied up in the corner. Now Roberts is going to pick it up. He skates out of the zone with it. Takes the red line. He's into the zone. Puck gets poked out in the corner. He feeds it up to Whittingham, pulls it off the wall. Whittingham makes a move. He's going to recollect down low. Skates to center. Still in the zone. Whittingham chips it towards the goaltender, who's going to turn it just aside. Chicago picks it up. They send it out cross ice. Skate it back into their own zone. Whittingham applying pressure on the forecheck. Chicago sends it up. Roberts looked like he had it, just overskated the puck there. Chicago now coming back the other way. They're into the Rampage zone with it. Hold up on the far side wall. It's tied up down low. Wheeler's going to send it, he skates with it up and out of the zone. He's on the near side, takes the red line, and Rampage are offsides. 54 seconds left of penalty kill time for the Rampage. 6:04 in the period. Faceoff will be outside the Chicago zone. On the ice, we've got Foster, McManus, Wheeler, and Bisley. Chicago wins the draw back into their zone. They feed it up on the near side boards. They're in the Rampage zone with it. Hold up on the wall. Feed it across and across to the far side. Chicago rims around the boards to the near side. Feed it back down low behind the Rampage net. Up to the point. Player blows the tire and the puck's going to go all the way down. Now the Chicago goaltender sends it up and out. Chicago coming back the other way. And now Merrill sends it up but not out. Chicago sends it to the far side, skate to the circle, takes a shot, deflects off a stick, ends up wide of the net to the near side. Chicago feeds it up to the point. Centering pass. Sticks in the way, and now Merrill's going to send it up but not out. Chicago holds it. Rampage back at full strength. Puck bounces out in front of Stahl. He sends it up, not out of the zone, and now McManus sends it hard. It deflects up into the Chicago bench and out of play. 4:55 left in period number 2. Out on the ice, we've got Wilton, Whittingham, Roberts, Huff, and Wheeler. Chicago wins the draw, sends it across to the near side. They turn, dump it into the far corner of the Rampage zone. Send it on net. Stahl turns it aside, and now Wheeler has to do battle behind the net. Sends it over to the far corner again. Chicago turns it back around. Centering pass up front. With 4:34 left in period number 2, Chicago Fury go up 6-2. This isn't that good of a team. Not sure what's going on with our boys right now, but hopefully they can shake it off and play some good hockey to finish out this game. Out on the ice, we've got Drexel, Whitted, Sarver, Merrill, and Gudanis. Rampage win the draw. Back to Gudanis. Over to Whitted. Puck goes in the Chicago zone. Drexel has to wait for everybody to tag up. Does so. He's going to dump it into the zone. Chicago feeds it over to the near side. Up the wall. They come up out of the zone with it. Into the Rampage zone. And now, comes off the wall with it. Whitted with the takeaway. He turns. He skates with it. He's through neutral. He's into the Chicago zone. Takes the outside. Drops it for Drexel. Drexel sends it back down low. I'm sorry, that was Gudanis. Centering pass for Sarver. Just doesn't quite connect, but Sarver was there. And we got a penalty coming to Chicago for a slash. 3:45 left in period number 2. Rampage are going to go on the power play. I'm sorry, it was a cross check. Out on the ice to start the power play. We've got Drexel, Whitted, Sarver, Wheeler, and Bisley. Rampage come up with it. Whitted pulls it off the wall. Makes a move to center. Puck goes over to Sarver. Sarver holds it on the wall. He dumps it into the corner. Drexel feeds it up the wall to Sarver. Comes back to Bisley. Bisley back to Sarver. Goes through his skates, but pins it on the wall momentarily as Chicago's going to clear. Back to Wheeler. He recollects in his zone. Sends it up to Whitted. Whitted turns with it. Feeds it across to Sarver. Doesn't connect. It's going to go into the zone. They wave off icing. Play will continue. Sarver chases down low. Drexel gets there up to Whitted. Whitted tries to take a shot. Body's in the way. Doesn't make it through. Puck goes to the far corner. Whitted dumps it back for Sarver behind the net. Johnny Sarver tries to center it. Goes through the defenseman. Comes out of the zone. Wheeler recollects. Rampage have to tag up. Up towards Whitted. Looks like it must have tagged, so no icing. Play will continue. Chicago sends it around the far side. Gudanis pinching in, holds it the blue line. Puck down low. Sarver's got it behind the net, trying to make a move. He gets taken down and ridden to the ice, and we've got another penalty coming to Chicago for a hold. 2:52 left in period number 2. Rampage are going to have 54 seconds of 5-on-3 time. And the Chicago penalty box is getting very, very crowded. Out on the ice to start the 5-on-3, we've got Whittingham, Roberts, Wilton, Merrill, and Gudanis. Rampage win the draw, but it deflects way up in the air, comes out of the zone. Merrill has to come back for it. He's going to hold up. 47 seconds left of 5-on-3 time. Merrill over to Roberts. Roberts into the zone. Takes the near wall. Comes back up. Whittingham skates it off the wall. He's going to feed it over to Gudanis. Gudanis back to Whittingham. Whittingham down to Roberts. Roberts over to Whittingham. Whittingham skates up over to Gudanis. Down to Wilton. Wilton's going to feed it over to Roberts. Just 19 seconds left on 5-on-3. Up to Merrill. Back to Roberts. Roberts turns to the circle. Feeds it through to Wilton. Wilton's right there. Nice pass and a nice shot and a nice save by the Chicago goaltender. 10 seconds left of 5-on-3 time, followed by another 1:06 of 5-on-4 for the Rampage. Out on the ice, we've got Drexel, Whitted, Whittingham, Gudanis, and Merrill. Rampage win the draw, back to Gudanis. Gudanis turns, skates, feeds it over off the boards. Merrill has to wrangle it in. Back to Gudanis. Gudanis takes a shot. Goaltender has it. He's going to hang on. And Chicago is back to 4. So we've got 1:05 left of 5-on-4 time power play for the Rampage. Drexel, Whittingham, Whitted, Merrill, Gudanis. Rampage win the draw. Comes back to Merrill. Merrill over to Gudanis. Gudanis back to Merrill. Merrill down to Drexel. Drexel takes a shot. Goaltender has it in his glove. 1:49 left in the period. 57 seconds of power play time. Tied up on the draw. Whitted pulls it out of the pile, sends it off the boards, and holds on to it. Sends it to Whittingham, takes a shot, deflects up in the air. Puck comes down. Whitted pulls it out of the air, feeds it up to Gudanis at the point. Gudanis turns back to Whitted, back to Gudanis. Gudanis takes a shot, and that one's going to go in. Max Gudanis from the point. So after a lot of power play time, with 1:29 left in the second, Rampage with a power play goal to Max Gudanis is going to cut the lead to 3, so score 6-3 in favor of Chicago. Out on the ice, we've got Nick Wilton, Rahosian, Sarver, Wheeler, Bisley. Chicago wins the draw, back into their zone. They're going to send it across to the far side. Puck up but not out. Sarver keeps it in, and then a shot taken by Nick Wilton. Goaltender's going to make a save, cover it up. We'll have a face-off in the Chicago zone. 1:17 left in period number 2. Chicago wins the draw, back into the corner. Chicago sends it around to the near side boards. They feed it out of the zone. Rahosian has to come back for it. He feeds it across to Wheeler. Wheeler has to make a move, gets pinned down low. Wilton picks it up, sends it up the near side. Has to come to it. Wheeler comes back for it. Back to Wilton, and then Rahosian's going to pick it up. He skates it off the wall. Up and out of the zone. Chicago recollects at neutral. Send it across to the near side. Back down, comes up to the point, and now out of the zone. Chicago recollects, sends it across ice to the far side. They all tag up. They're going to dump it in. Stahl holds up with it. Chicago gets their centering pass, and now a quick steal. And Wheeler's going to send it up to Sarver. It bounced. Play continues. Sarver gets there. Sends it back behind the net. Rahojan comes to the near side. Puck comes up the wall, and time expires on period number 2. So your score after 2 is 6-3 in favor of the Chicago Furries. Rampage have 1 period left to battle back. We'll go on mute for the next little bit. Let the coach talk to the boys. All right, here we go. Period number 3. Out on the ice, we've got Whitted, Whittingham, Drexel, Merrill, and Gudanis. Rampage win the draw. Drexel drops it for Merrill. Merrill in his own zone. Over to Gudanis. Gudanis back to Merrill. Merrill turns, looks, back to Gudanis. He's going to feed it forward. A little back and forth at neutral. Merrill has to pick it up in his own zone. Feeds it up to Gudanis. Comes poked up. Whitted over towards Whittingham. Chicago with the takeaway. It's going to get deflected in the far side corner. Centering pass comes up to Drexel. Drexel. And Chicago holds the line, and now, gosh, lots of back and forth. Chicago picks it up right in front. They fire a shot up and over the net. Puck on the far wall. Drexel sends it hard off the glass and out. Whitted hustles in, and that's going to go for icing. Couldn't get there in time. Faceoff will be back in the Rampage zone. 16-12 left in the game. Out on the ice, Sarver, Rahojan, Wilton, Bisley, and Wheeler. Chicago wins the draw. Quick shot taken, deflects wide of the net. Another shot taken. Stahl got a piece of that one. Puck down low. Fed out front. Shot taken. Stahl's got it. He's going to hang on. Tied up on the draw. Quick shot taken. Stahl covers it up. He's going to hang on. We'll get another face-off in the Rampage zone. 15:54 left in the game. Out on the ice, we've got McManus, Roberts, Bender, Foster, and Huff. Tied up on the draw. Chicago's going to dump it into the corner. Chicago feeds it across to the near side point. Shot taken. Stahl's got it. He's going to hang on to that one. 15:42 left in the game. Face off in the Rampage zone. Tied up on the draw, comes out to a Chicago player who dumps it in the corner. Over to McManus behind the net. He's going to skate it to the far side, feeds it up to Foster, who's going to give it to Roberts. Roberts in the zone with it. He takes the far side wall, holds up. Centering pass comes through. Foster picks it up, makes a quick move, tries to feed it through, just doesn't quite connect. Chicago now coming back through the other way. It's poke checked. It's going to go to the far side. It's in the Rampage zone with it. And then Stahl with the save. Puck still in the Rampage zone. Puck around to the far side. Feed it back down the wall. Back again. Shot taken is going to go just wide of the net. Chicago still with it in the Rampage zone. Down in the corner. It's going to come up to the point, cross ice to the near side. Chicago feeds it down low. Back up again to the point. Puck comes through, takes a couple of deflections. Stahl gets a piece of it and goes wide, ends up in the far corner. Shot from the point, deflects off a body, comes to the near side wall. Centering pass attempt, and McManus is going to send it up and out. Chicago sends it cross ice. Avoid the too many men. And puck goes into the zone and back out again. Gudanis picks it up. He's going to skate with it. He holds it up. Feeds it over towards Drexel, who deflects it. It goes into the zone. Whitted goes after it down low in the corner. He's got a couple players on, tied up down low. Comes over to Whittingham on the near side. Up to Gudanis at the point. Gudanis feeds it. Gets poked back out of the zone. Gudanis on the near side wall. Puck comes off and out to Whitted, who's going to turn skate with it. Drops it for Drexel. Drexel takes a shot, goes wide. Whittingham over to Whitted. That one goes wide. And then finally, Drexel with the follow. And with 13:41 on the goal to Carter Drexel, Rampage close it to 2. Score 6-4. Still a lot of game left to play. Out on the ice. Looks like we're going to keep the same crew up. We've got Whittingham, Whitted, Drexel, Merrill, Gudanis. Rampage win the draw. Back into their own zone. Merrill has to go. He's got a player on him. Sends it over towards Gudanis. Gudanis comes up the wall. Whitted sends it up to the point but not out. Puck back in. Gudanis gets a stick on it. Shot taken. Stahl gets a piece. Whitted's going to pick it up. He turns. He skates with it. He's into the zone. Over to Whittingham. Makes a quick move towards the goaltender. Puck down low. Chicago sends it up the far wall. And now clear it out. Gudanis with the steal. He's going to... holds up, chips it in. Puck behind the Chicago net. Rampage going for a change. Cross ice pass to the far side. Now Chicago's going to dump it. Wheeler picks it up down low, skates behind his own net, far side. And clears the zone with it, comes up to Rahosian, over to Wilton. Wilton's into the zone. He holds up, makes a move to the near side. He's going to turn and dump it. Sarver's in there, trying to tie things up down low. He pokes the puck up towards Basili. Gets chipped up and out of the zone. Rahosian picks it up. Sends it across to Wheeler. Wheeler turns, skates with it. Skates through neutral. He's into the Chicago zone, takes a shot. Goalie makes a save. Sarver turns, fires a shot. Goalie makes a save. Chicago sends it up to the point. Shot taken, doesn't make it through. Now Chicago coming back the other way. They're going to take it and dump it. Bisley picks it up. Sends it over and out. Sarver drops it off the wall for Wheeler. Wheeler's into the zone with it. Drives it down into the corner. Puck comes up and out. Goes to the far side. Wheeler gets there, turns and fires it back into the Chicago zone. Chicago goalie holds it behind his own net, drops it for his defenseman. Up and tipped into the Rampage zone. Bender picks it up in the Rampage zone, fires it up the boards, gets kicked off the wall, and now Chicago with the takeaway, tries to get a shot, doesn't quite make it through. Now Roberts is going to pick it up. He skates out of the zone with it. Roberts is through neutral. He's in the Chicago zone. Gets poke checked to the far wall. Puck comes out. Foster gets tripped. Play continues. Chicago skates out of the zone. They're into the Rampage zone with it. Drop it to the point. Shot taken. Stahl gets a blocker pad on it. Sends it to the far corner. Down the wall to Bender. Sends it up. Foster picks it up. He turns. Feeds it across the near side. Roberts gets poked and a little back and forth at neutral. Puck comes out. Gudanis picks it up. He skates, takes the red line. He's going to just chip it into the zone. Slips the jab, and then Foster has it at the point. He feeds it down the wall to Gudonis. Gudonis takes it low into the corner. Goes over to Roberts. Roberts feeds it up to the point to Merrill. Over to Foster. Tries to take the shot, goes wide of the net. Puck deflects into the far corner. Comes back to Whittingham. Puck comes out front. Goalie gets a piece. It's going to come up to Gudonis. Just doesn't get much on the shot. Puck coming the other way. Play will continue. Stahl's going to knock it over to the near side wall. And the puck comes out of the zone. Roberts picks it up at neutral, takes the red line. He's going to chip it in on net. Goaltender's going to hang on and say he's had enough of that. 10:04 left in the game. Face-off in the Chicago zone. On the ice, Drexel, Whittingham, Whitted, Merrill, and Gudonis. Rampage win the draw. Comes up to Gudonis. Back to Drexel. Drexel turns and fires. Puck is deflected wide of the net. Whitted on the far wall. Tries to turn around for Whittingham. Tied up down low. A couple of players in there. Chicago with the takeaway. They're going to skate it out of the zone. Take the red line. Poke check. And now Whitted sends it out of the zone. He's going to backhand it to Drexel. Drexel over to Whittingham. Whittingham's into the Chicago zone with it. Makes a move down low. Chicago sends it around the wall to the near side, comes up to Gudonis. Back on the wall, Drexel's going to send it low. Whitted's in there trying to do battle. He's got a couple of Chicago players. Drexel comes in to help out. Gudonis pinches in, keeps it in the zone, feeds it down low. Whitted's in there again. Chicago chips it up off the boards. It comes out of the zone. Wheeler comes back for it in his own zone. He recollects, sends a stretch pass up to Whitted, deflects it into the zone. And now Chicago's going to send it back out. Gudonis sends it in. Rampage are offsides. 9:02 left in the game. Faceoff will be just outside the Chicago zone. Oh, excuse me. The faceoff is coming all the way back to the Rampage zone. Out on the ice, we got Wheeler, Wilton, Bisley, Sarver, and Rahosian. Sarver pulls it out of the draw. He feeds it over to Rahosian on the far side. Rahosian takes the red line. He dumps it in and gives chase. Rahosian going after it down low. Still has it in the corner. Tries to turn direction. Chicago's there. Sarver gets tied up. And now Chicago comes up and out of the zone with it. They're into the Rampage zone. Shot taken. Stahl deflects it up and to the side. Wheeler sends it around the boards to the far side. Chicago pinching in, tries to take a shot. Rahosian gets a body in the way. Puck still in the Rampage zone. Bisley has to come back for it. Wilton's going to pull it out of the pile. Skates, changes direction, comes back, and now changes direction again. Sends it over to Wheeler on the far side. Wheeler sends a cross ice off the boards, looking for Sarver. Sarver's got a step. He gets tripped. And that, my friends, should be a penalty shot. Should be a penalty shot. 8:02 left in the game. 6-4. Rampage will be back on the power play with 8:02 left in the game. Out on the ice to start the power play. We've got Sarver, Whitted, Drexel, Wheeler, and Bisley. Excellent hustle by the Rampage boys on there drawing the penalty. In my opinion, it should have been a penalty shot, but Chicago comes up with it off the draw. They're going to chip it up and out of the zone. Wheeler has to hustle. He's got a man on. He makes a move towards the wall. He's going to skate it off the wall. Sends it over off the boards into the Chicago zone. Chicago sends it up the boards. Wheeler pulls it off, skates to center, feeds it over to Bisley. Tries to take a shot, goes off, body comes out of the zone. Wheeler holds up, has to poke it through, and now he skates with it. He's going to make it through center into the Chicago zone to the near side. Over, the goaltender's going to grab it and hang on. So we'll get a face-off in the Chicago zone with 1:20 left on the power play. We'll get some fresh power play skaters out on the ice. 7:22 left in the game. Rampage down by 2. I've been really, really bad about updating the periods this weekend. I apologize, folks. We are in the third period. Out on the ice, we've got Roberts, Whittingham, Wilton, Gudanis, and Merrill. Rampage win the draw. Gudanis over to Merrill. Merrill tries to drop it down for Whittingham. He turns, comes off the board, sends it over to Gudanis. Gudanis takes a shot, hits bodies, doesn't make it through. Chicago turns, fires it up and out. Merrill has to wrangle it in. Over to Gudanis. Gudanis back to Merrill. Merrill in his own zone. Merrill up to Wilton. Wilton over towards Whittingham. Goes off the boards, and Chicago's going to send it back out. Merrill wrangles it in, back in his own zone. Feeds it up. Goes off of Whittingham's stick. Play should continue and will. Puck comes up. Chicago's one-on-one into the Rampage zone. Makes a quick move. Stahl's going to turn that one aside. Bunch of Rampage players down in the corner. They send it up to the point. Chicago sends it across to the far side. Shot taken. Stahl's going to hang on to it in his glove. 6:28 left in the game. 27 seconds left for the Rampage power play. And unfortunately, we're playing at the wrong end of the ice right now. Out on the ice, we've got Sarver, Whitted, Drexel, Wheeler, and Bisley. Chicago takes a quick shot off the draw, and the net comes off. So we have a stoppage. We'll get another face-off in the Rampage zone. Rampage come up with it. Drexel tries to skate it out, just clears the zone. Chicago with the takeaway. They turn around, send it back into their own zone, take it to the far side, up and into the Rampage zone on net. Saul's going to hold it up for Wheeler. Wheeler makes a quick move, changes direction, sends it over to Bisley. Bisley to Whitted. Whitted holds up, looking into his own zone, feeds it over towards Drexel. Drexel turns, he's going to dump it into the zone. Chicago back at full strength. Chicago sends it up the boards. That's going to go the distance, I think, and does. And it's lucky that it did, because there was a Chicago player all by himself who would have gotten to the puck first. 5:49 left in the game. Face-off in the Chicago zone. Out on the ice, we've got McManus, Roberts, Foster, Bender, and Huff. Tied up on the draw. Foster turns around, tries to put it in there, goes wide, and Chicago tries to turn around. They clear the zone with it. A little back and forth, and Chicago skates it into the Rampage zone. Puck down low. McManus chips it off the boards, tries to chase it. Puck comes out front, doesn't make it through. Chicago sends it across to the near side. Shot taken, goes off the side of the net. McManus picks it up down low, skates it from behind. Chicago with a quick takeaway. Roberts picks it up. He turns, he skates with it to the near side wall, sends it up towards Foster, goes off a skate, and then Foster's going to pick it up again. He gets tripped on his way back in. Chicago coming back the other way. Lead man pass, and Chicago is offsides. And that one should come all the way back to the other side, but it's going to go to center. Pass came from the opposite blue line. Out on the ice, we've got Whitted, Whittingham, Drexel, Merrill, and Gudanis. Rampage win the draw. Back to Gudanis. He skates with it, takes the red line, dumps it in. Chicago wrangles it in behind the net, send it up to the far side. It gets poked back again, and Chicago now is going to send it up and out. They're into the Rampage zone with speed. Shot taken, goes up and over, rims around the boards, up to the point. They're going to send it back down low. Goes to the far side. Puck in the far corner. Chicago sends it up to the point. Shot taken. Stahl gets a piece of it. Puck on the wall. Now Drexel's going to pick it up. Skates, feeds it to Whitted. Whitted gets tripped up on his way. Chicago takes the puck back. They feed it back into the Rampage zone. Bisley gets there, feeds it off the wall. Puck comes up but not out. Down low in the corner. Whitted's going to pick it up. Sends it out, or sends it up but not out. Puck across the far side. Bisley off the wall. Drexel picks it up. He skates with it. He's going to come out of the zone, takes the red line, dumps it in. Just 3:48 left in the game. Rampage still down by 2. Chicago sends it across the far side. Over off the wall, not out. Bisley holds the blue line, and it comes to Sarver. Sarver on the far side. Tries to feed it over to Whittingham. Sticks in the way. It was a good look. Whittingham was just waiting. Shot gets deflected up into the netting and out of play. 3:32 left in the game. Out on the ice, we've got Rohosian, Bisley, Wheeler, Wilton, and Sarver. Rampage win the draw, send it up to Wheeler at the point, dumps it down the wall. Puck tied up on the wall. Sarver and Rohosian are in there. Chicago sends it across to the far side. Bisley's got to get there. Sends it off the wall back towards Wilton. Wilton wrangles it in, takes it into the zone. Chicago drives it back behind their net, gets tripped up on the ref, and now Chicago's going to make a move. They skate it up and out of their zone. Shot taken, Stahl with the save. Wilton tries to send it up, just unable to connect. A little back and forth now. Wilton's going to dump it into the zone and go for a change. Chicago with it down low, 2:47 left in the game. Puck tied up in the corner. Nick Wilton in there mixing things up. He's got Rohosian to help him out, and Roberts is standing by. Wilton comes out with it, gives it to Roberts. Roberts takes a shot. Goalie gets a piece, bounces way up in the air. Comes to the near side wall. Wilton pulls it off the wall, takes a shot, goes off of his own player. Wheeler pulls it out of the air, turns it around, dumps it into the zone. 2:20 left in the game. Chicago picks it up behind their net. A little whiff on the pass. Roberts applying pressure on the forechecks. Comes to the near side. McManus takes it off the wall, takes a shot, deflects, ends up wide of the net. Goes to the far side wall. McManus is going to pick it up. He turns, fires it down the boards. It's going to end up on the near side. Huff pinching in, trying to hold the puck. Roberts picks it up, sends it. Goaltender turns it aside. Puck down low. Chicago turns and just fires at the distance. That's going to be icing. 1:47 left in the game. Face-off will be back in the Chicago zone. On the ice, Whitted, Whittingham, Drexel, Merrill, and Gudonis. Rampage win the draw, comes back to Gudonis, has to pinch down the wall, centering pass to Whitted, backhands, looking for Whittingham, just doesn't connect. He was on the back door, puck to the far side wall, pinched in the zone, comes out to Drexel, takes a shot, goes off a body. That one hurt. Puck comes out, Drexel's going to wrangle it back in. He sends it up, gets stuck in Merrill's boot, and then Chicago's going to dump it, and that one goes into the empty net. And a very lucky dump shot. So with 1:20 left, Chicago goes up 7-4 on an empty net goal. Out on the ice, we've got Wilton, King, Wheeler, Sarver, and Bisley. Rampage send it into the Chicago zone. They're going to come back and recollect. Send it around the boards to the far side. Bisley pinching in, keeps it in the zone. Chicago's going to come skating out. Got a bit of a 2-on-1 going. Shot taken, Stahl with the save. Fed back in. Bisley knocks it out of the air, sends it up but not out. Bisley has to turn with it. He's in his own zone. Skates it out of the zone. Tries to feed it off the boards to Sarver. And Sarver was just a skate blade width offsides. 51 seconds left in the game. Same crew out as before. tied up on the draw. Now it's into the Rampage zone. Gets poked up and out. Wilton turns with it. He's going to skate. He feeds it over towards Sarver. Sarver has to go after it. Gets chipped up and out of the zone. Puck back into the Rampage zone. Dropped. King thought he had it. Puck ends up on the near side wall. Comes up and out of the zone. Chicago has to regroup. 25 seconds left in the game. Chicago feeds it up. Deflected back the other direction. Now they're going to chip it up. Wilton knocks it down. Foster's going to skate into the zone with it. Tries to make a move. And now Chicago's going to clear. Huff picks it up. He's going to feed it back to Wheeler. Just 7 seconds left. Up towards Foster. I think it went through. They're waving off the icing, which is fine because the time expires on the game. So your score after 3 is 7-4 in favor of the Chicago Furries. You know, I don't really know what to say about that one. We had moments of hard-fought battles. We just got too far behind too early, and that's just all it is. So hopefully they'll head back, get some good rest tonight. Our game tonight tomorrow is a little bit later again. I want to say it's in the 6 o'clock hour. So we will see you guys back here tomorrow night. Thanks everybody for tuning in.